Hello, everyone. Ex-Wild Kill Bethelite here. And Jehovah's Witnesses put their members in position to fail. Watchtower stumbles its own members and then disfellowships that member when they were put in position to fail because of Watchtower. Let's talk about sex. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses, Watchtower in general, they want people after high school, even before, to spend their time passing out magazines, doing letter writing, even going so far as to have an hourly requirement. And they give you a title if you get 70 hours. So if you want a title as a pioneer, and they really push, they tell you that that's what you want to do. You want to get the title of pioneer. Well, what about that person's sexual needs? Are they no longer human? Are they just magazine passing out robots? What about their sexual needs? So Watchtower tells its members to do the polar opposite of what anyone would do if they wanted to get married. And in that organization, you need to be married before you have sex. So there's a whole process you need to go through before you can have sex without getting shunned in that organization, right? Well, okay, that's fine. Sex before marriage, or I'm sorry, marriage before sex, that's fine. As long as Watchtower is directing its members in the direction of marriage so that they can have sex, so that they don't get disfellowshipped or shunned. Well, here's the problem. Well, they're pushing people to pioneer. And in order to pioneer, people are taking lesser jobs so they can spend more time writing letters and sending it off to random people rather than focusing their time and energy and doing what they need to do to establish a family, to get the things you need to get married. You need a place to live. You need a decent job. If you're the one that's going to be providing for the family, you're going to need a decent job, not that job Watchtower told you to go get so that you could pioneer. Not that job Watchtower told you to get that's all part-time, so you got more time to pass out magazines and write letters. You don't need to be passing out magazines and writing letters. You need to be finding a job that's full-time and focusing your attention on dating so that you can find someone that you can marry. But Watchtower does everything it can to get in the way of the members being able to get married. It tells them to do everything else. Oh, the end of the world is right around the corner. Why would you want to get married in this old system and this is Jehovah's Witness cult speak. So anybody that's not a Jehovah's Witness, has never been one, you're not going to know what I'm talking about. But let's go with it anyway. Why in the world would you want to have a family in this old tired system when you could have a family in the new world? The end of this system is right around the corner. We're almost there. That's what they tell people. Hold off on doing the things you need to do to fulfill your needs. Do you think people are just getting married just because? No, this is an established thing, a desire that people have, a deep-seated desire to not want to be alone. Not to be alone and passing out magazines. No, they want to have a wife. They want to have a husband. They want to have Kids, even if they don't want to have kids, they want a wife or a husband. If they don't get those things, you're talking about a policy Watchtower has that you have to be a virgin or married. One or the other. If you're not a virgin, I'm talking about people born and raised in. If you're not a virgin or married and you do anything sexual, you're shunned, you're disfellowshipped. You can't talk to your family even. Imagine how many people that affects, especially when Watchtower's telling them, focus your time and energy on passing out magazines. Don't focus your time and energy on finding a wife, finding a husband, building a career so that you can build a family. No, Watchtower tells you to do the polar opposite so that when you actually do have needs, your own human needs and desires, well, it's very hard to fulfill them. You've been passing out magazines. You've been trying to pioneer, trying to auxiliary pioneer. You've been staying busy doing any and everything but find someone that you can marry, be happy with married, and enjoy sex with so that you don't have that desire to such an extreme degree. I have to say to such an extreme degree because some people get married and they still want to go buck wild. But I'm not going to make an excuse for them. Let's talk about the people who don't even have a wife or a husband. You got people who get married and can't control themselves. Could you imagine how hard it is for someone who's not married at all and goes an extended period of time unmarried? Because Watchtower is tripping this person up at every step of the way in regards to any action that is family building. They want Watchtower passer outers, not family builders, right? So while you're getting that job at McDonald's because it allows you to pioneer, what you're doing is putting yourself in the furthest situation for you to be able to get married. And I don't know if these people think that God is just going to take the sexual desire away from them. But when this pioneer who's got all the magazines in the world and has set himself up to have this low-paying job, not focusing on any kind of a career, so that he can pass out all the magazines to his heart's desire. Well, when that person has a woman walk past him in a nice form-fitting dress and boom and bam and wham, you know what I mean? It's going to hit him, and human nature to a certain extent is undefeated. Like it is going to affect the person to the point where, okay, the sexual desire went from 0 to 100. Now you are susceptible. Why are you susceptible? Because you ain't got no wife. You ain't got nobody to man, when I get home, I'm gonna, this, that, and the other with my wife. You don't have that. You can't go and get the love making music and then take it home to your wife and y'all enjoy a romantic evening. You can't do none of that. You are home by yourself with a whole bunch of Watchtowers or stationery to do letter writing. So when you see all these beautiful women, or vice versa, the women, when they got all these men hollering at them, all these men shooting their shot. Some of them are handsome. Some of them got swag. Some of them got all that stuff that the weird people in the Kingdom Hall don't have. When all these people are after you and you don't have any outlet, because Jehovah's Witnesses teach you ain't allowed to masturbate. So when I say your sexual organs are not allowed to be used at all outside of marriage, I mean at all. So an organization that teaches that you are not to touch your sexual organs unless you are going to the bathroom, you are not to touch it yourself. You can't even touch your own. An organization that teaches that you can't masturbate, you can't do anything. Well, wouldn't you think they would prioritize marriage? They would tell you marriage is one of the most important things you can do, because boy, you can't look below the belt before we expel you, before we disfellowship you, before we put you in all kind of reproof. So then why are you steering people away from marriage? Why are you telling a pioneer, auxiliary pioneer, serve where the need is greater, go move somewhere in some poor area somewhere? Why are you telling them to do things that's going to put them in a position to, when they are tempted, have no outlet whatsoever? So the only thing that can happen is they gonna get disfellowship, they're gonna get reproved, or they're gonna have to find a way, because they can't master it, they're gonna have to find a way to control themselves. And the problem is, this is gonna happen again and again and again and again and again and again, year after year after year after year. What are the odds that at some point or another they're going to do something Watchtower don't want them to do? They're going to try to satisfy natural sexual urges. Look around. The entire animal kingdom has these urges, including humans. The entire animal kingdom. So why Watchtower thinks they got a whole bunch of humans that don't have these desires, all they need are a bunch of magazines and books and broadcasts, and they're satisfied. No, these people need families. They need to be able to have wives, husbands. These people need to be able to have sex. They ain't just a whole bunch of magazine passer-outers waiting for the end of the world. Like this is the reason why half of the people that are disfellowship is because of Watchtower. Watchtower misleading and misguiding people and directing them away from what they need and what they want. They want a wife. How am I going to get a wife? Well, I need to raise my hand a bunch at Watchtower. If I raise my hand 10 times and maybe get 6 comments in, well, if I go out and I pioneer and I got the title of pioneer, no, none of these things are what you need to do to get a house, to get a car, to get a career, to have something to fall back on when you want to have a family, to be able to afford a wedding and all this other stuff. Like Watchtower, raise your hand at the meeting, pass out magazine. I think Watchtower has this concept because the governing body are all super old and they probably don't have the sexual desires that they had when they were younger. The whole governing, they're all super old. So they don't know. They think everybody is like them, walking around and pamper and no sexual desire whatsoever. No. These are young people. People in their 20s, people in their 30s. It's people in their 40s. People need to be able to have sex and they need to be able to enjoy the whole human experience. Watchtower's taking that away from them. These people are following Watchtower, and Watchtower turns around and disfellowships them and shuns them when they succumb to Watchtower's rigid expectations of, yeah, we expect you to wait till marriage to have sex, but we want you to do anything and everything but get married. Focus your time on passing out magazines. Nobody is that thoughtless. The Mormons even, they'll send people out for a few years. But then after those few years, everybody in Mormonism expects these people to get married. Matter of fact, when these Mormon missionaries finish their missions, I think it's 2 years, 3 years, I don't know, something like that, 4 years maybe, however long it is. These Mormons come back, these men or women or whoever, when they come back from their mission, the women pounce. This is their culture. Mormons aren't dumb. They know humans need to experience sex. So yeah, we're going to have a set period of time that we send people out to pass out books of Mormon. And then after that set period of time, we got the whole culture set for these people to marry pretty much immediately after. Jehovah's Witnesses do not have that. Jehovah's Witnesses Watchtower expects you to pass out magazines until you fall out dead. Like, they don't have a set time where, okay, this is our culture, to where all the women now know to pounce at this particular person, or everybody knows this guy's about to be talking to he's trying to find somebody to marry. They don't have that. You could be 40 years old and single in a Kingdom Hall walking around trying to talk to women, and they're going to look at you weird. So, you want to get married? You're not spiritual. If you're spiritual, you'd be here to focus on magazine passing outing, not women talking to him. These people are self-sabotaging themselves. They put themselves in a situation where they're going to be more susceptible to anything sexual because they have no outlet. They ain't got no other way to relieve themselves of these desires, because some of these people ain't married, or they get married and they marry people who they're not right in the head because they had to marry them so quick. But Watchtower should have learned. You remember Pillowgate. What that should have taught Watchtower is that even if you get a bunch of young 18-year-olds, 18, 19, somewhere around there, put them in a facility called Bethel around a whole bunch of other guys, this still is not going to subside sexual desires. They're masturbating on pillows and coming all over the Bethel linen. Right? Keep that in mind if you decide you want to go visit Bethel and you want to sleep in one of their beds. Well, that comes along with it. These Bethelites don't have anywhere else to relieve themselves of sexual desires other than all over the Bethel linen. So go sleep on the Bethel linen if you want. But you're going to be sleeping on more than Bethel linen. But what this should teach Jehovah's Witnesses, because from growing up Jehovah's Witness, I think in their minds, keep in mind, a lot of these elders weren't raised Jehovah's Witness. They done had families, married, old. So to them, they're not as sexually vibrant as before because they're all super old. So all these old people, these old elders, yeah, for them in their mind, oh, if you just leave sex alone, it'll leave you alone. Yeah, because you're old. It's like somebody trying to start a lawnmower. It takes a whole lot of pulls to get these old elders and old governing body members going. It takes a lot, but for a younger person, that lawnmower, they wake up and the lawnmower's running. They don't need no pulls. The lawnmower's running. Them blades are cutting whatever grass they can find. That's how that is. It's already active for younger people. So Jehovah's Witnesses think, oh, we're going to get all these people, send them to Bethel, and because they're just going to be around a whole bunch of work and other guys for the most part, they're not going to be thinking anything sexual. Look at Pillowgate. They were coming all over Bethel. It was like a geyser of all over the Bethel linen. If they had to come up with that video, that should show you they're sending all these people to Bethel. These Bethelites need wives so that they can have sex, so they can enjoy the human experience. Watchtower is the reason they're at Bethel with no wife. It's because of Watchtower. Watchtower is the one that told them to go to Bethel, and that's the reason they don't have a wife. That's the reason why they're over there masturbating. And Watchtower's telling them, don't do that. So Watchtower is the reason probably 90% of the people that get disfellowship is because Watchtower is directing them away from their needs. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. X Wall Kill Bethelite signing out.